Hey, this is Stephanie.
And I'm Nina.
And you're listening to Live by the Spirit podcast.
What's up?
Hi. Hi. My voice gets so squeaky.
When you say hi?
Hi. Yeah, I know.
It's like you're talking to a dog or something.
I know. Can we talk about how, like, there's certain people that barely, it's, you know, when someone new comes to your house and it's like, hi, welcome to my home. Nina and I's relationship is flat up. Nina unlocks my door and just waltzes in. We don't even say hi to each other. It's just like, okay, we're together.
It's funny.
I think we've hit that level of friendship.
I tried to get in the door and smashed my head on your door thingy. What is that called?
A door, like the knocker.
Yeah, what is that called?
I think it's literally called a knocker.
Yeah, well, I smashed my head on it and now my head hurts. But that's fine. Anyways, this week we are talking about Christian celebrities.
Yeah, and the effect that they have in the world.
Mm-hmm. And not even like specific people. I mean, we may mention people, but we're going to try our best to not bring people up because at the end of the day, you know, we're not here to gossip. We're not here to, you know, call people out publicly in that way. And, you know, we might give you some people that, you know, we see that we think have good influence and, you know, who are Christian. But other than that, we're not really going to be this person. Yeah.
I think what brought this up was I had the honor, the privilege, because not many people got to go see Miss Taylor Swift herself on Friday. And it was a fabulous evening. But there was a moment in the concert, and I made a TikTok and a reel about this, and people on TikTok have already let me know that they disagree with my thoughts, which
that's okay.
Tis their own. Just about during her Evermore set, she had her dancers come out in these cloaks, like holding these like candles or something like that, dancing around, and it just like it wasn't, obviously they were not doing witchcraft, but it like it entertained it.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I don't want to watch this. I'm just gonna go use this as my potty break. I tried FaceTiming Nina. She didn't answer me. I then was like, I'll pray for a second. And then I went back out and enjoyed the day. But yeah, and it's just, you know, I mean, at this point, I don't know if Taylor herself can control how much more famous she gets, because she just keeps,
it's ridiculous.
Like, the fact she sold out 3 nights of 70,000 people is insane to me. And I mean,
and she's not even the number 1 artist on Spotify. She's number 3 right now.
That's crazy.
Sorry, I know that.
Now Taylor's version comes out, she will be.
You know, you might not be wrong right there.
Yeah, that was the best moment of the entire night. Sorry.
My brother and I do a top 10 every month, so we go on Spotify and we see the top 10 artists, and we have to like search for it, and it's like fun. But Taylor's been solid number 3 for a while. She hasn't been higher. The Weeknd's been number 1 for a while.
Oh.
And then Ed Sheeran. And then
I do like Ed Sheeran. But
yeah. Anyways, sorry, different topic. But anyways.
But I think that just kind of was like, I was talking to Nina. I was like, she has claimed several times that she is a follower of Christ, and again, it's not our place to judge, but I could just personally say that if I was doing something like that, I would not have tried to entertain witchcraft. Particularly our associate pastor, Brittany, she sent me a TikTok about it before I went to the concert, and just kind of told me, you need to be careful and just, you know, make sure you're praying, and because I didn't want any of those, like, because again, entertaining the devil is welcoming the devil in, and so I just didn't want any of those spirits following me home.
Well, and also thinking about like when people claim to be Christian and then they don't live the life, it's like that's where like it false. Sorry, this is not where I'm getting into it. I'm sorry, this is not where we're trying to go.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes,
please,
very much so.
If you'd like to talk, you can.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about that right now. We can bring that up later. Anyways.
You're right. It brings up false prophet.
Well, and it's just like putting out an image of where people think, oh, well, that's okay for me to do, or like that's okay for me to do, and it's like, What?
Yeah, so we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we are.
So in research for this episode,
Mm-hmm.
I found an awesome article, and I've already lost where it was. Hold on, give me 1 second. It's on the website firebrandmag.com, and it's called The Danger of Christian Celebrity, and it was an interview with this woman named Kaylin Beatty, I think is how you pronounce her name.
I would say so.
About a book she wrote called Celebrities for Jesus. And after reading this full interview, I definitely want to read this book. It sounds really good. But the author of this article, Matt Reynolds, just asked her some questions. They had just a really good little chat about it. So I took a couple statements that she had said and pasted them into my notes, and I'm going to read them, and then we're just going to kind of go off of it, because I thought this was a pretty good lineup. So
yeah.
Also, my foot's falling asleep, so I'm so sorry. I got to put my foot right next to your Bible.
It's okay.
Ignore my foot. So anyways, the first statement is, the vast majority of Christians for the past 2,000 years have not had platforms. They have had no fame, no celebrity status. Ordinary people are how God has chosen to work, to heal, bless, restore, and to point people to his goodness and grace.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it now, like the day and age we live in is such a social media based world. So if you think, when we were growing up, we didn't have social media like this. I remember Instagram being like a big thing when I was like 14 or 15. But that's like when it just started to take off. So it's like you think about, people didn't have this influence that they do now, because now it's like you have all these social medias. Everybody's looking at you every second of the day. It's like you make one wrong move and everybody makes wrong moves, but you make one wrong move and you're like, cancel culture. This person said this person said that. So it's like being famous is such a double standard, but it's also like so much more common now than it was.
Well,
20 years ago.
It's like you said, it's so easy to become famous now.
Yeah. TikTok, you can blow up quickly. Yes.
What's interesting to me nowadays too, and this I feel like has been more recent, is people have started to cancel culture, because people finally realize how stupid it is.
It's so dumb.
But yeah, no, exactly what you said. It's so easy for us. I mean, I remember begging my little 10-year-old self, begging my parents to have a MySpace.
I missed the MySpace era. I was a little too young. I would have been 8 at that point, and I was playing outside.
I was begging my mom to have a MySpace, and so we shared a MySpace page, and I remember loving it. I decorated it. It was so, I remember when Facebook became a thing. And I just remember not being able to customize your Facebook page like you could on MySpace, and I thought it was awful. You could have a song. It was so, oh my gosh, it caused a lot of drama though, because you could have a song on your page. So I always had Jonas Brothers, duh. And then you could have I think it was a top 6 on your page.
Yeah.
And it was if you remove someone from your top 6, ooh, the drama. Anyways, this is besides the point.
I didn't get a Facebook till I was 17.
Oh. I definitely had it way too young than I should have, and now.
Yeah, Instagram when I was 12, I think. 12 or 13. 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. Anyways, but yeah, social media is so big, and it allows people to be so much more famous now, because you can choose who you follow. Mm-hmm. You also have such a thing on Instagram, an explore page, so you can see things that's demographic wise. Obviously, it's an algorithm. What you look at is what you'll get in your explore. And then TikTok, another algorithm app where people can blow up so easy.
Yeah, I think what I was going to say is it's also with the mainstream media. I mean, if you even look back in the early 2000s, with paparazzi, with people, we started learning about celebrities' private lives a lot easier. And almost with that, we feel like we have claimed ownership because we think that we know these celebrities.
That's good.
And that can be really scary too, because I can think, maybe the people that my dad looked up to growing up, he only got to see what those celebrities chose for him to see, which is if they wanted to have that clean cut celebrity, Christian, persona, that it was so much easier to do that because there wasn't paparazzi following them around. There wasn't social media for people to like post on. So it's like if someone decided to cheat on their wife and go out to dinner, I mean, there was nothing for someone to take a photo with, even to post
Scandal
on.
was so much harder to find and to be brought to light back then.
And I feel like nowadays we almost live for the scandal. We enjoy it. And that's not very Christ-like either. I feel like we shouldn't be celebrating people's falls.
Mm-hmm.
And so that sucks too.
Yeah. It's like, think about, I can think back in 2020, 2021 when TikTok was getting so big. And you would, like, these big TikTokers, like Charli D'Amelio or Addison Rae, like, they got so big. And then it's like everything I would see is, like, what they're doing. What are they doing? Who are they with? And it's like, whoa. Like, I can't imagine being that young and being followed around like that. And it's crazy that they do that.
I'm going to shame myself right now. So, back in college, I'm going to tell this quick little story. Back in college, it was, I think, my sophomore. Yeah, it was definitely my sophomore year of college. It was the night before St. Patrick's Day. We were going to go down to, because again, my school was in Chicago, so we were going to go down to, like, downtown Chicago, see the Green River. I wouldn't suggest it. It literally smells like pee and weed there, so don't do that on St. Patrick's Day. But anyways, David Dobrik was in town because David's from Chicago, and Kaylee, one of our friends, loves David Dobrik. I also watched him too, but she like loved him, and so did our friend Isaac. They both really, really liked him and would have loved to meet him. Well, I looked on his Instagram story, and he had posted a photo of his hotel room by a window so you could kind of see into the city. And no joke, it took me 15 minutes to figure out what hotel he was at. And I like dug deep. I knew exactly what hotel he was at. I'm pretty sure I knew exactly what floor, because I was like, I want my friends to meet them. But I, like, honestly, I'm kind of like embarrassed that it was that easy to figure out what hotel he was at just based off a photo inside. And so I can't imagine some of these celebrities who have insane fans, but that's how easy access we have to technology nowadays.
It's crazy how we can find things like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you also think about when they're filming shows or movies, people sneak onto sets like that and take videos all the time.
I mean, Wicked right now.
I know. We see that on Wicked. We've seen
Wicked's
that
getting ruined
literally
right now for me.
Stranger Things is a big one.
Yeah.
Going to all the filming locations. The Summer I Turned Pretty, we've seen shots from that from people. It's crazy. It's like, can't we just wait for anything? But we can't wait for anything in our culture.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild. But I think your next quote kind of goes into what we're getting into.
Yeah, the next quote is, celebrity, by contrast, is something that is deliberately curated and sought using the tools of mass media to project an image of yourself as whatever it is that you want people to think about you and whatever you want to believe about yourself.
I mean, think about that in your own life, too. We choose what we post. We choose what people see. And celebrities do the same thing.
I think it's interesting nowadays. I think it's almost cool for us to post photos of us crying. I would never have done that 5 years ago.
I almost included one in my last photo dump, but I was like, that's a little too real. I'm not doing that.
Well, even I think also, like, I've just chosen to get less embarrassed by things. So it's like, Nina took a photo of me sleeping several months ago, and honestly, like, I don't remember if you posted it or not, but I honestly did not care if she did. I think photo dumps are so much fun because I think it's made it to where I don't need to be perfect for social media anymore.
Yeah. I definitely don't like the whole me not posting my crying picture, because then I worry about, I don't want to like be seeking attention at the same time. Like, so that's where, like, and I'm not saying that you are at all. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I struggle with that. I'm like, am I, like, wanting people to know I was crying? Or do I just think it's a funny picture of myself? But yeah, celebrities do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I think sometimes it could be a good thing. Like, I remember I, as many people did, loved the British YouTubers in the early, 2010s, and I've always loved Zoe Sugg. And I remember she posted a video right after she had a panic attack, and she was like crying, but she wanted to, because again, she said in the video, she's like, you only see one side of me. You see me all, like, with my makeup all done, with my hair looking good, with the perfect lighting, the perfect camera angles, but this is who I actually am, and this is something that I deal with, and I know others of you deal with it too, so I don't want you going around thinking that I'm perfect.
Yeah. And I think that there's, like, a beauty to that too, because it's like, you know, they want their lives to be as private as possible. Well, some people do want it to be as private as possible, but for people to be raw and be real and post things like that, it's, like, good for us to see, because people go on and do idolize these, you know, celebrities. It's good for us to, you know, see what they do in their life.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, there are celebrities that are just, like, influencers who will make certain posts, and, like, I have seen myself for years. We were just talking about this earlier. I deal with body dysmorphia. And it's just, like, I feel like, honestly, that's because of people I see on Instagram and stuff. And it's crazy because I am, like, perfect size for my body. I'm not overweight. I'm not underweight. For the first time in my life, I'm not underweight. I'm actually pretty healthy. And I still struggle with those body images, and particularly when the summertime comes, I, like, dread it because I don't want to be looking through my feed and seeing people's perfect bodies, and then, you know, I overwork out, or then I don't eat, and that causes I feel like because of influencers and celebrities, it almost has caused, like, more people have more mental health issues.
And it's crazy now because, you know, everything with body positive is such a big thing now. It's like, people are like, it doesn't matter what you look like. But it's like, then you do see people who do have perfect bodies. You're like, wow, that still does not make me feel good about myself.
Yeah. Do you know Casper, who is part of the British YouTubers? What's his last name? Lee? Is Casper?
I think that was his YouTube name. Casper Lee.
Yes. I love his girlfriend. If you should follow anybody on Instagram, you should follow her, even though she's not, like, that big. She'll do, like, side-by-side comparison of her body like, throughout the whole entire day. Like, she started to see, I don't know if she still does it, but she did it, like, a year or two ago, where she would post a photo of herself, like, in a bikini at the beginning of the day, then a photo of her in the middle of the day, and then a photo of her at the end of the day, and shows how much our stomachs expand throughout the day after we eat food. And honestly, I remember the first time I saw that, because that's something that I relate to so much. I was like, wow, the fact that you are so willing to share this is awesome. So yeah, but I think when it comes to also Christianity, I think sometimes some people, they can, you know, obviously, I think it's nowadays a little harder to escape being like, I'm a Christian and I do Christian things, but then it's like, I saw the paparazzi photos of you at the strip club Saturday night, and then you posted that you went to church on Sunday. And so, and again, I don't know these people, you don't know these people that we're thinking of, but it is like, those are the people that, you know, young Christians are looking up to.
And, you know, it says in the Bible, like, don't be just hearers of the word, but be doers of the word. And, you know, we see that so much in celebrities who claim to be Christian. We don't see them actually doing what the word asks us to do.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, then it's like, but how can you really call yourself a Christian if you're not literally doing what the Bible is asking you to do, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I can think about certain people who I have shared their videos. Like, there is a video of Chris Pratt, I think at the MTV Movie Awards, like, years and years ago, proclaiming God. Such a beautiful video. But because of his celebrity status and how he is, I see the other things he does in his life. And for young Christians or people who are questioning whether they want to be a Christian, and they see those certain things, they think it's okay. And that could probably go into the false prophets a little bit. Or do you want me to continue and then we can go into that? We're kind of all over the place.
Yeah. I don't know. We can just keep continuing going on.
Okay. We'll come back again.
We'll just...
Yeah. So the next quote from that article was, technology on one hand allows people to connect across time and place like we're doing now, and also it has a distancing effect. That is what is dangerous or troubling about celebrity power. Celebrity creates a distance from other people. I think what this person, what's her name? Caitlin is meaning by this is that celebrities have designer things. They get to go on these luxury trips. They get to do, like, have private planes, and just we see on social media them doing all these things, and then we look at our life and we think that we do not have enough. When I have a roof over my head, I have a job that pays my bills, so I'm able to purchase not only exactly what I need, but slightly more. I have a car that works and allows me to get to and from. I have a group of friends in a church community that I need, like, all these good things. But because I see, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example that's not Taylor Swift, but of course she's the first person that comes to my head.
I mean, she's a very big celebrity.
Yeah, but who else do I like? I like so many people. I don't know. My brain just completely went blank. I'll say Selena Gomez. I'll see Selena Gomez with, like, a Prada bag or something, and it's like, I don't have enough money to get this Prada bag. I don't have enough money to get this.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back into the wants and needs. I think we talked about a couple weeks ago when the story of Peter walking on water or something like that. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that I was talking about this with my friend the other day. Celebrities and influencers have actually become so unrelatable.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, because it's like you said, they can afford all this stuff. They can go on these trips. They can have these, all of these things. They have these $1 million houses with thousands of square footage. And it's like, oh, wow, my under 1,000 square foot apartment. Or it's like, oh, wow, my paying job. It's like, why do we complain? But then it's like, we look at who we look up to, who do we idolize. It's like, why do we expect all these other things? But it's like, because we look up to these people, we see them everywhere. We see everything that they have.
Yeah. I mean, I can even speak for the podcast. Like, we would love to have a studio. For one, we wouldn't have to be sitting in my closet right now. So it's like, I look at all these videos on YouTube of other podcasts with influencers. Like, yeah. I love Pretty Basic with Alicia Marie and Remy Ashton. I don't know if you know who they are. They have a pretty interesting podcast. But they have, like, their own studio, and it's so cute, and it looks so much more professional and stuff. And so I caught myself, like, wishing that we had that. And I'm like, if the Lord wants us to have that, eventually we will have that. But right now we have what we need to get this podcast live. We have my closet to sit in, so that way our voices don't bounce off of walls. We have equipment. And so, yeah, I think so when I read that, I was like, wow, distance is such a huge thing.
And it's also the fact that the celebrities are out of our reach.
Oh, yeah.
They're so far away from us. They're, like, physical distance wise, because we just see them over our phone screen, or we see them on the TV. Like, we're not actually having these interactions with him. Like, the closest you can normally get is, like, a concert, or if you go seek after finding this person. But it's like, they are so distant from us because they're not attainable.
Yeah. And when I was also thinking about just distance in general, when it comes to, a point of view, we are so blessed because we can't, with our worldly eyes, we can't physically see God. In our spiritual eyes, we can. And so, but we're able to draw close to him, unlike being able to draw close to celebrities. Yeah. And James 4:8 says, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded.
Yeah.
And he is so willing to draw close to us. We just have to make the first move.
That actually reminds me of when you just read that. I didn't think of this beforehand. But in John 15, it says, trying to find the exact verse that I'm looking for. Oh, yeah. 15:4, abide in me and I in you. So it's like, once we abide in Christ, he abides in us. Like, we can't, it's a two-way street. It's a two-way relationship. It's not, one-sided. We need to make that two-sided.
Yeah. So there's that. All right. We got one more. That's that all, man. We have one more quote before we will go into a little bit about false prophets. So this is a quote by a guy, not a god. There's only one God. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't look like Do you know what quote that's from?
No.
That's from Avengers. I'm pretty sure they don't
Oh.
dress. I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that when they're. Yeah. Anyways, so John Piper said, while it is a sin to desire fame, it may not be a sin to desire to be influential. That hit me. So, and I think, for the sake of our conversations, influencers in this case are celebrities.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
they really are.
well, because like you said, when we first started watching YouTube, I remember watching Zoella or like Zoe's Hug, like we talked about earlier, or even Bethany Moda, who was just a normal girl doing videos
Doing
in
makeup,
her bedroom.
fashion, yeah.
Like the first real YouTuber I watched so much was Juicy Star 7 Blair, and like she had a lime green bedroom, was using her web camera to do her videos. And that, to me, I remember that was like the best era of YouTube.
Oh, for sure.
It was like 2010 to like the end, maybe like 2014, just because YouTubers and influencers were exactly that word, influential, because they were normal people like us doing normal people things like us, like going out and getting coffee with their friends.
They were relatable.
And I feel like now, while yes, it can be easy for you to become an influencer, it also, if you don't have certain things, it can be a little bit harder.
And, you know, while we're talking about influence, you know, we also need to remember as Christians, we do have influence, and we always have people around us. And, you know, once, you know, and we can go into the next point with this, I feel like, but when we claim Christ, that's what people think of when they see us, whether they want to or not, especially people who are not believers. They look at us and they're like, oh, that's that girl who loves Jesus. Yeah. Why does she act this way, though? So it's like we have influence everywhere we go. And, you know, 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, whatever you do, do it for the glory of God. So it's like wherever you're walking, are we doing that for the glory of God? Because remember, there are people around us, and we have influence all the time on the people around us. You know, we're always trying to sow fruit. But it's like, how are we going to sow fruit if we're not living how we should to the glory of God and pointing back to the kingdom?
Yeah, I recently had someone, I was messaging somebody about something and was just talking about certain boundaries that I had, and this person said, oh, I really respect that. You don't see that a lot nowadays. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is what I choose to do to be closer to God. And so, like, I'm happy you respect it. But, like, you don't live that life.
Yeah.
So it just makes certain relationships and certain situations a little bit more difficult on that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then, I mean, we kind of been going off and on about it, but I think a worry that I have sometimes about celebrities that say that they're Christian or even go to church or things like that or mention God is that they could slowly become a false prophet. And I don't think that they go into it intentionally meaning to be a false prophet, but because of their lifestyle, because of the society of being a celebrity, they have certain kind of expectations, and also kind of what we were going off of, they have access to so much. Like, thinking of people, I mean, how much I think I read something somewhere that Taylor's getting paid like somewhere around $50 million a concert.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll think about how much tickets were.
Yeah.
She gets a cut of that. The merch, everything.
Yeah. I bought 2 sweatshirts. Believe me, I know the merch was not cheap. But, and I don't want to keep bashing her, but.
No, I don't think you're bashing her.
But it's like when you have that kind of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it says in Mark, like, it is easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God.
Yes.
I think it's Mark 10:25. And so it's there becomes issues in that. And so a prayer that I've been praying over, particularly because I do love Taylor Swift, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with liking celebrities. My prayer is that, and something that I encourage all of you listening to do, is just if you have a favorite celebrity or just someone that you really, really like, but they're not necessarily living the lifestyle, but they are claiming to be Christian or something like that, pray that they have a spiritual encounter.
Yeah. You know, and that's what we should be praying for. And like in this can go into even political leaders. You know,
Yeah.
there is so much divide when it comes to politics nowadays, but regardless of who you like, who you voted for, like, be praying for those leaders who are ahead of us, who are in charge. You know, like, we need to be praying for those people, not just, you know, celebrities, but be praying for those political leaders, world leaders.
I'll never forget, I'm not going to name names. I'll never forget, we were at Disney World, of course, because my family's not at Disney World. We were at Disney World, and it was just after an election, and it didn't go the way that my parents wanted it to go. And I remember there was a little bit of fear, and I just remember overhearing my parents talking about, we obviously didn't go our way, but what we can choose to do is pray over this person and these people, and just pray that God guides them in certain ways, and if certain things need to happen because someone else will come into office later and do something else in the glory of God, then, like, it's all in God's plan.
Yeah. And I actually posted this on, like, the night before the last presidential election, because there's no secret that this one was very, like, there's so much tension between either side. And I remember posting this post, and, like, I think about this all the time. It's like, no matter who is in office, God is still on the throne. Yeah. So why are we worrying? Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's a new, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, but we need to remember who is actually on the throne. And, you know, we need to be praising him. And, you know, like we said, praying for those political leaders, praying for those celebrities, praying for the influencers, praying for everybody that we encounter, you know, praying that they have that encounter with God.
Yeah. But kind of going back to what we were talking about false prophets, a false prophet nowadays, I think, looks like a celebrity who proclaims Jesus, saying that they're Christians, putting that all over all their social medias, and then does something like, I don't know, what's a big sin? Like, gets caught cheating, or is living outside of marriage.
Well, sin is all the same.
Sin is all the same, yes. But, like, doing different types of sin, but saying, like, no, it's okay to do this thing. Because there's a difference between living in sin and not knowing that it's sin. And then
we talked about that.
We talked about that last week. But then finding out sin, becoming a Christian and stop doing it. And then there's another thing with knowing that it's sin, but still choosing to do it.
Yeah.
And so, I'll read the first verse. Do you want to read the second verse?
For sure.
So the first verse is in Matthew 24:24. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elite. Or is that elect?
Elect.
Sorry. Oh.
Same. It works the same.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about all these concerts and different things happening, making spectacles and amazing things happening, and you know, it can be dangerous. And I think in this terms, it's like people, like, obviously saying that they're Jesus or something like that, and doing, like, you know, and that can get into witchcraft and and different things like that. That's why I wasn't a fan of the whole witchcrafty dance in the Eras tour. So yeah.
The second one is 2 Timothy 4:3-4. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths. Dang.
I know, 2 Timothy is so good.
And, like, I mean, say it louder for the people in the back, because it's, you know, so true nowadays. Like, people just hear what, like, everybody has their own truth.
Well, they what's it called? They pick and choose in the Bible what they want to believe.
Yeah, it's the phrase. Everyone has their own truth. Everybody can believe what they want to believe. And it's like, at the end of the day, they're just hearing what they want to hear.
Yeah, and that's not, I mean, I think about it this way. It's like, you know, when I was a kid and I did something against what my father told me to do, I would have to be explained again why we don't do this.
Yeah.
And then hopefully he obviously hopes one day that clicks and I understand why I shouldn't be doing that. And that's the same thing with the Word of God. You know, we are so incredibly blessed that we have this book that is basically, it's so easy to get close with God because you have your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just read your Bible, know the Word of God. It's the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And spend time with Jesus in prayer and stuff. It's literally the easiest relationship I've ever been in my entire life.
It's so funny because all it takes is for you to like sit and be still.
Sit
honestly.
and be still. And we make excuses not
We
to.
do.
But it's like, I can't read. And I feel like with that, what we just said, picking and choosing, that gives a murderer, like, well, it's like, well, you know, I waited until marriage, but then it's like you still go around murdering people. Like, that's how, and someone's going to be like, oh, well, duh, that's obvious. But it's like, if you flip that around, you know, people are like, oh, no, it's 2023. It's okay to
Live with someone and not be married to them, or, you know, have sex before marriage and stuff. And like, everyone has to do what they need to do, or that didn't come out right. People do what they want to do.
People do what they want to do, and, you know, I can't be the one to force you not to do something. You have to choose and decide to do it yourself. I just know with my relationship with God, it's like, I wouldn't want to do that, because I know for one that'd be displeasing to Him, and two, it's like, I know now, because of sitting down with God after making certain mistakes over and over again, I know now why I should, like, similar with my dad.
Yeah. And it's like, you know how it feels to disappoint your earthly parents.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how it feels to disappoint the person who literally created all things.
Yeah.
And it's like, He tells us what we need to do. Like, He literally tells us over and over again, like, what our command is. The Great Commission. Like, we're told what to do, but we can't spare 5 minutes. But we can spare 2 hours scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok, watching a movie, watching a YouTube video. Like, we do all those things, but we don't sit down and spend time with Him. And
y'all, I do it too, but even watching like a biblical movie,
that's not supplement for
even watching The Chosen,
reading the Bible.
That's not supplement from reading the Word of God and
spending time in prayer.
Spending time with prayer yourself. And I am preaching to myself.
I know, me too. We all do it.
Yeah. The last week, 2 weeks have been crazy because of I mean, it sounds stupid that it was crazy because of a concert I had, but like, I just had a crazy couple weeks, and since like I didn't spend as much time in the Word as I should, and so it's like, just honestly, just making the time and effort is so important. But
really quickly off of that, on Sunday, as we were, you know, in worship, our worship leader Jude had said, you know, Lord, we want no distractions. And like, we are constantly distracted, and it's like praying that we don't have those distractions, praying that we have no excuses, because there are no excuses. Like, there's no reason that we shouldn't, you know, as Christians, be spending time in the Word, because that's our source of life.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who are some good Christian celebrities that you could suggest for people to follow?
Yeah. Okay. So I love a good Instagram. I love to scroll. I personally sorry, you keep looking at my feet.
Because you keep pushing my sweater.
Sorry, I need to move my feet. I don't want them to go numb. I'm a big fan of Sadie Robertson. I've been following Sadie Robertson for,
Duck Dynasty.
A long time. I remember when Duck Dynasty came on, I was like, they actually show these people praying at dinner? This is crazy. And it's so wild to see, because I've followed her on Instagram for so long. It's obviously, I'm following her. I don't, know her personally, but seeing her, being single, and now, she's married with kids, and it's like crazy to see, but she always is very, real and raw, and she always points it back to Christ.
Yeah. And she has a really good podcast.
That she does.
Yeah. One for me that I love is Madison Truitt.
I think it's Trout.
Hopefully that Madison Truitt. That's a name, Maddie.
It's T-R-O.
It's Trout.
Yeah,
it's definitely Trout.
Maddie Prue. I love Maddie Prue.
So if you don't know who she is, she was on Peter's season of The Bachelor, which was the season that came out in 2020.
Yes.
Pilot Pete. Did not like Pilot Pete. And she told him that she was a Christian and that she wanted to wait until marriage to have sex, which kind of in the Bachelor Nation isn't like a very common thing to happen.
No, not at all.
And it got ugly.
Yes.
His mother treated her so disrespectfully over her biblical beliefs. I've never, like, and we're supposed to turn the other cheek, but I've really never wanted to punch somebody through the screen more in my life.
It's so frustrating because, like, being Christians in the world now, like, there is no other religion that is hated as much as ours. And I say
it says
that
in the Bible that
it says that's going to happen for sure, but it's, you know, I feel that, like, not to a personal level, but I see how, like, disrespected we are as Christians, and it's like, for somebody to treat Maddie like that because she has a different opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, we all have different opinions. Like, we believe in the truth, but everybody has a different opinion, and, you know, you're going to bash somebody for believing in something differently than you. That's ridiculous.
I've been following Maddie ever since she's released a book.
Made for this moment.
She's a guest speaker a lot of times, so I share her a lot on Instagram. She always has a really, like, good thing to say, and most of her topics is about relationships and like physical, like earthly relationships, but also relationship with Christ. And I'm just truly blessed that, like, that God put her, like, she had to go through that trial, you know, because it was a trial of being on that show, but because of that, she's opened a lot of doors for people to preach to, and God's really using her, and honestly, I can say this, I know a lot of people agree with me, when she got engaged, it was the happiest times, because it was like she finally found the person that wasn't going to settle. And it's also like the following that she had from The Bachelor. It's I know so many non-Christians who follow her because of The Bachelor, and, like, that's, like you said, that's such good influence on them to be following somebody like her. You know. And then I think we'll both agree on the last one.
Yes.
The LeBrant family. I forgot to put it in the notes.
I was like, who are we talking
the
about?
LeBrant family. Savannah and Cole.
Yeah.
I've loved Cole since Dem White Boys.
Oh my gosh.
On Vine.
You taking it back.
I'm taking it back, because I have no joke. I've been following him since Vine.
I've been following them for such a long time.
I remember when, because they met at VidCon.
Yes.
Him and Savannah met on VidCon because Savannah and her daughter Everly got big on, what was it before? Musical.ly. Oh my gosh. They got big on Musical.ly, and they literally, like...
Everly was like 3 or something at the time.
She was so young. Cute. But they met and, like, instantly got into a relationship, and I think it's so cool, and they've made so many videos about this. Savannah had Everly when she was a teenager, out of wedlock. And the fact that I think Cole was like 18, 19 when they met. He was so young. But he loved Savannah and instantly loved Everly because of that, and stepped into a role as a father for her. And poor Everly just lost her actual biological father. He just recently passed away. And obviously we don't know them, so this is just what I'm speaking from watching them on YouTube and stuff like that. But it's been really amazing to get to see how he's progressed and see him talk more about his faith. And then Savannah seeing her whole side of it, because she can talk about being a teen mom and how God helped her during that time, and also seeing how they are raising their kids to be Christians.
And they just moved.
To Franklin.
Tennessee.
They just moved to Franklin.
They live kind of close to us.
I know, we could possibly run into them. I'm so stoked.
True.
But but they recently made a video not too long ago, and they said, like, Cole made a comment that his mom isn't a Christian, and how for them, they never want to, like, force their beliefs down people's throats, but they also do believe that God's given them this platform for a reason.
I would agree.
And to me, that kind of goes off of that quote that I read earlier, which was by John Piper, while it is a sin to desire fame, it may not be a sin to desire to be influential. And they have stated several beliefs that people, like, they get trashed hard.
Oh yeah, they have their comments turned off on everything because
they made that documentary about abortion and just, they wanted, because there's so many things about abortion being a positive thing, and they decided, we're going to make a documentary on just other things that other options for women that they have, and also just talking about how God loves everyone,
and also just they say the statistics of how many children have died due to abortion.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They got the cops called on them. They've gotten Child Protective Services called on them. People are saying that they should like get their kids taken away from them, and it's just awful. And so to me, as awful as this is to say, to me it's like that's almost confirmation that they are doing the right thing because the world is hating them so much. So please follow the brands. They're awesome.
It does say in Romans that the world will hate us.
Yeah. So yeah. Alrighty, we have decided, I don't know if we're going to do this on every podcast, maybe, but we've decided that we're almost kind of like a good diva. We're going to have questions at the end that we're going to ask each other, but that, in your spare time, sometime this week, if you just want to answer them yourself, and please feel free to share them on socials and tag us, or if you just want to keep it to yourself, please do. But yeah, so I will
ask me the second question first, because then I feel like that'll be good to go into the...
How about this? You ask me the first one, I ask you the second one.
No, I know, but I think we should talk about the second question first, because I think it leads into the first question, is what I was saying.
Oh, good.
So you ask me the second question, I ask you the first question.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit, but what is the difference between looking up to a celebrity and idolizing a celebrity?
Yes. Okay. So I would like to give you some definitions from the Webster's Dictionary, because I'm a big definition girl. Whenever I used to like lead Bible study, I would always start out with like the definition of the topic that I was talking about. And looking up is to respect or admire somebody. Idolization is to worship as a god. And that's in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. To worship as a god. So if you are idolizing celebrities or just people in general in your life, you are looking up to them as if they are God. And we only have one God.
Well, think of the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest commandments.
Yeah. You shall have no other gods before me.
Yeah. And so I think...
And it's okay to look up, like, it's like respecting, looking up to, admiring somebody. That's what looking up means.
Yeah. And I think, and I can speak for myself, when I was little, like, I would idolize celebrities. Like, I think my three main girls were Miley Cyrus while she was on Hannah Montana. Classic. Before she had her moments. And then I've always loved Selena Gomez. I feel like she's still pretty non-problematic. And then Taylor. Those were my three. I had them plastered all over my wall. And I would not necessarily like bow down worshiping them, but like would religiously listen to their music, would know everything about them. Yeah. Would fantasize about being their friend and stuff. And like, I can't lie. Like, I would love to still get to be their friend or something like that, but it's almost my world circled around them.
And also, like, I just recently was talking to somebody about this. It's called American Idol, the show. You are making the next American Idol, somebody for them to worship. Crazy. Anyways.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's good. And I think it's, for me, I know one day I'm going to have kids. I'm sure that they're going to look up to a celebrity. And I think it's just important to teach them about not going too crazy with it.
Yes. It's okay to look up to people, but also, make sure that you're being cautious of who that is.
Yeah. So, and then, you're going to ask me the next one.
Is it okay to look up to celebrities?
Yeah. So going off of what you just said and the definition, I think it's okay to look up to a celebrity. I, however, don't think, I think when it gets to the point of you are idolizing them and your world revolves around them, it becomes dangerous. Yeah. And I think it's okay to look up to somebody, but not like look up to somebody in certain areas, but not in other areas. Like, I look up to Selena Gomez in many different aspects. I think, for one, she's such a beautiful human. I look up to how she just believes that it's super easy to give kindness out in the world. I think that that's such a positive message. Yeah. But there's certain things that she does that I don't agree with, nor do I look up to. And I will be vocal about that. And I think if I was necessarily idolizing Selena Gomez, I would be like, no, that's okay, because Selena Gomez does it. Yeah. So I can do it. And that's what I used to do when I was little. And so it's like, I like certain things. Like, I love Rare Beauty. I will wear beauty on my face any day. You know, I love the charity work that she does. I love, you know, she does say that she's a Christian, and like, oh my gosh, y'all, in her documentary, she was so nervous to, I think we may talk about this, but she was nervous to like sing live for the first time in a really long time, and they put on like a worship song, and you just watch her worshiping.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool to see that in a documentary, particularly.
She has a few of those videos on her Instagram too.
Yeah, but now she's also one of those celebrities that, you know, I don't necessarily think that she's going to wait till marriage with her next relationship and stuff like that. But again, I don't know her, so I can't really speak on that. So it's like, again, certain things you have to watch out for. But, you know,
looking up to somebody is different than idolizing them. So like you said, as long as it's not something that you're like, everything they do is okay because they did it and they're okay to do that. Like,
yeah,
it's not okay for that.
Yeah. Who are the people you looked up to when you were little?
You know?
Oh gosh. Is it like Boy Meets World cast?
No, it's actually really funny. In 6th grade, we had to draw a portrait of our idol. So we had to like paint a drawing of somebody that we looked up to. Mine was Francesca Battistelli. If you know who that is, she's a Christian singer. And I did this whole portrait of her. And, you know,
oh man, you really were a church kid.
Jammed to Free to Be Me. Jonah and I, to this day, will jam to Free to Be Me. We will blast that song, and it is so much fun. Yeah. And, like, she also lives in Tennessee now, and she's got kids, you know. And so I always looked up to her growing up. But also, I didn't have social media or, like, you know, we didn't have cable for a long time. Like, I watched Arthur growing up. Like, we didn't really watch anything.
Oh, yeah.
Any shows or stuff like
Channel
that.
Kid through and through.
So, like, I, you know, grew up listening to Christian music. I grew up listening to, like, Toby Mac. I still love Toby Mac. But, like, you know, like, that's, like, the things that I was, you know, heavily influenced by when I was younger. And social media and things like that kind of influenced me more towards middle school and high school rather than, you know, when I was younger.
Yeah, no, I always had cable. I'd always watch Disney Channel. You know, all those things. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing.
No.
Because I've heard of so many times of people who, you know, were raised in that Christian bubble, and the second that they walk out into the world, they are not prepared for it. And not saying that obviously was not you.
I was in public school.
You were in public school, so yeah. But it was kind of nice that I had that, but at the same time, it was like I did idolize people a lot. Like, I was the girl in elementary school that, like, I was the Hannah Montana, Jonas Brothers obsessed girl that, like, could talk about them for hours upon hours upon hours. And so, like, I'm not necessarily ashamed of that because that's what I loved and that's what I enjoyed. And I feel like, you know, I was active in church and things like that, but I think it is, like, something that when I have kids, I'm like, I probably will be a little bit more stricter on, like, at least limiting how much time they spend watching things. Like, I would just spend all day watching TV, maybe try to limit that, particularly because they have such access to technology nowadays with these kids.
Crazy.
So, but anyways, those were our questions.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
I think that's that on that.
That's that on that.
But yeah.
But anyways, we appreciate you taking time again, or maybe if this was the first time. Thank you for listening for the first time.
I want to pick an emoji this week.
Oh, please.
Yeah. We really enjoy you guys liking our stuff and commenting and whatnot, and we very much appreciate you guys, you know, listening in. All right. I want you to comment the nails emoji.
Oh, the nail painting emoji?
Yeah.
We have a friend who's been obsessed with that emoji lately.
It was also in, like, my frequently used, and I quite literally have never used that emoji. So
Oh.
I don't know why it's there, but yeah. Let's comment the nail painting emoji on our most recent reel on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, well, we, again, appreciate you guys for another week. And we'll be back next week.
All right. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.